Hey there, welcome to Talk Through Thursday again. Today we are jazzed to have Madhuri Murlikrishnan on the mic. She is a force to be reckoned with, award winning artist, singer, songwriter, and a philanthropist extraordinaire. From crafting catchy tunes to choreographing mesmerizing dance routines, Madhuri Go does it all with flair. But what sets her apart is her unwavering commitment to giving back. Through her platform, Flute Theory, she is empowering underprivileged causes one song and dance at a time. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's get this conversation started. So, Namaskar Madhuri ji, kaise aap? How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm really very well and really excited to be here. And thank you for that warm introduction and a warm welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And how are you doing? How's life in California? Can you tell us? Can you brief us
Oh my
about
God.
what you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, I mean, life in California is, what you see in all the movies and what they say, nothing like it, at least not in the Bay Area, I will say that. People are mostly hustling here the entire time. They're mostly working really, really hard, and they've got most of the ones living here got their jobs in tech, and tech jobs are not as easy. I would say that it really takes a lot out of you. But that said, I think the good weather, the access to beaches, access to even snow if you want to go snowboarding or skiing is not too far. So I will not complain about where I live.
So that's fantastic. I mean, like I love snow. I've seen that in Manali, if you've heard of, in
Yeah,
India,
of
and
course.
I just love that. I mean, snow is like it's so welcoming. It touches
It
your
is.
soul. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes. I think it's nice to visit and come back. I wouldn't say live in an area where you have snow because the shoveling and taking it from a day-to-day standpoint, it's a hard life to live in areas that are snowed in. At least for me, but people growing up here have had, they love that environment and they love the idea of different seasons and whatnot. So I think each to their own. Yeah.
So on that note, Madhuri, your journey is like a roller coaster ride through the
Yeah.
world of music, dance, and philanthropy, right? What's been the most surprising twist in your adventure so far?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think, the surprising twist that I would say is that I don't think I set out to do any of these things with an idea that I want to do this. I think I mostly just was, dancing because I like dancing. I was singing because I thought I'm, decent at it. And then also because I had that, a lot of love and encouragement from my dad, who is a singer himself. But I never thought that I would be doing all of this together. I knew I wanted to do something with the creativity of it. The biggest surprise out of it all is I did not know I could write songs. So when I wrote my first song, I really surprised myself that I had it in me to express in manner that was authentic to me, and it was about my life, about the way I look at the world, the way I perceive the world around me. And then that became so personal about, the songs, and dance was no longer just a thing that or a hobby. It became a way of expressing myself that is very authentic to me. So I think songwriting, I would say, is part of the whole surprise, would probably be the biggest one. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And I've heard that, like, when you are writing songs or even when you're singing, you're just connecting to that divine power and you don't have to meditate, like, right? You're just meditating in your process. So,
Absolutely.
talking of all the singing and songwritings, you have got quite the talent stack from singing and songwriting to choreography and even product leadership, right? So, how do you manage to wear so many hats without losing your balance? I mean, that's
Well,
important.
I think in my point of view, it's about, compartmentalizing everything. I don't think I'm doing all of it at once, right? I think when I'm at work, like I said, I work in tech and I work in the product area. And I think it's all about giving my 100% to that. And then on, when I'm doing a songwriting process, or I'm, choreographing a routine, or I'm putting a music video together, or, conceptualizing that, I'm focusing only on that. And that's just my entire 100% of focus. Now, I will say that it's been intentional to draw a line across all of it. What I mean by that is, essentially, I chose a path in my tech and business and product side to work on products that are serving the creative professionals. What I mean by it is, I work for Adobe, and we actually make software for editors, like movie editors, film editors, and so on and so forth. And I use a lot of movie editing. Like Frame.io is one of our product. We use it quite a bit in a lot of back and forth between me and my editor when we are working on a music video together. It's very intentional for me to actually do what I do on the side and tie it back to what I do for a living as well, so that there's one joint thread, and it's the creative inspiration that I work off of in both sides. So it's not so much work, it's not so much on the side, it's all one thing. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, you're striking the balance very well. And talking of all the editings and, you know, the work you have done till now, the most catchy thing was the name Flute Theory. Like, why did you think of this name? I mean, what
Yeah.
sets it apart from any other brand? Can you tell us?
Absolutely. So, Flute Theory, actually, I've spoken about this in the past as well. Flute Theory is a very personal, name for me, because, like I said, my dad wanted to be a singer, and he had a dream to kind of, be out there, be a singer, do everything that I'm actually doing right now. It's basically him making me do it, I guess. But I unfortunately lost him too soon, and I know that this would have meant the world to him. So it's an ode to him. So his name was Murlikrishnan. Murli is the name. So the reason I named it Flute Theory is because it's an ode to Murli, which is my dad's name. Yeah.
Hats off to you for that. And I'm really sorry. I mean, I didn't know about it, but of course,
No,
you're
no.
doing great and he must be proud of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very happy that I'm able to use all my positive memories with him and have a sense of connection with him. So this is a positive thing for me. I'm so glad to be able to do this. Yeah.
Yes. So, after listening to you, Flute Theory sounds like a dream come true, right? Combining your love with the art with
Yeah.
mission to make a difference.
Yeah.
Can you share the aha moment that inspired you to start this empowering platform?
Absolutely. So I think when it comes to giving back, this is something that was inculcated in us from when, me and my sister, when we were much younger. And my mom is really to thank behind that, right? Like, because empowering the voices of the underprivileged is something that she just did as a matter of doing. And we came from really humble background. Like, my dad was a bank employee and my mom was a professional tutor. So we never had means beyond, just a humble lifestyle, right? And even then, every time I would see my mom play an example of how to treat everybody with respect, how to give back from whatever it is that you have. And I always say this, when it comes to giving back, it's a mindset. It's not about how much you have. So it's there people would be like, oh, if you get $1 million, what would you do? And they'll be like, oh, then I'll give back. And I'm like, maybe you won't if you're not already, right? So it's a little bit of a mindset, right? Like, because it doesn't matter how much you have, and you will give back because you want to do that. You want to be able to empower, and giving back is also not just from a money standpoint. I think giving back, people who give back their time, I think, are most valuable, right? It's not just being able to donate money, but it's the ability to donate time, which is incredibly hard. And I have so much respect for all the nonprofits that I've had a chance to connect with, who give their gift of time. They're doing this just day in and day out because that's what they want to do. That's their calling, that's their vocation, what have you. For me, the aha moment, if you may, well, if there's one point in time, I will say it has to be this trip I had to Morocco in 2015. I took a trip to Morocco and visited their Center for Underprivileged Kids, as well as to teach English and to teach spoken English and just communicative English to a lot of the kids there. And then also visit their orphanage, which I was not allowed to take pictures, but it really had a deep impact on me because it was genuinely, you feel like you're living with so much privilege when you see the realities of the world, and of course in India as well, right? Like there's so much that we can see. India, we've been probably growing up and seeing it. We have a sense of understanding of what there is, what kind of pain there is in the world, and when you're living in India, but when you see across the world, there's a lot of unfamiliar pain, right? Like of people that are probably not from your background and are still going through some tough times. I think for me, my trip to Morocco was probably my aha moment that I wanted to do something.
Well, that's fantastic because there is so much unknown left in the world to discover. And every time we unfold something unknown, that brings about a change in ourselves only, right? A sense of upliftment and transformation. I mean, that literally gives us a lesson that life is a journey we need to embrace, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Very well said. Very well said.
So, can you just spill the beans? What's been the craziest, most heartwarming experience you have had while working on one of your philanthropist projects, like after talking all the arts?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I actually have had so many of them and I can't pick one, but if I have to pick one, I'll say that it's my recent trip that I had to India. I went to two of the centers. One was Cancer Patients Aid Association in Mumbai, and then I also went to a school by Friends of Asima. Now, Friends of Asima is a foundation that's established here in US, but Asima Charitable Trust is a trust in India that actually funds a lot of the schools that take care of underprivileged kids. This is especially in Mumbai, Bandra area, and most of the that neighborhood is very affluent, right? So you won't find as much of it's a little bit of a dichotomy in terms of seeing so much affluence and opulence on one side, and then you see, underprivileged kids on the other. But what touched my heart is there are two things. It was just beautiful because the way they were raising kids in the school is with intent, is to actually help their self-esteem, to create safe space for them to be able to vocalize their feelings, be able to stay vulnerable with what they're going through in their minds. I didn't have that growing up. I wouldn't say that there was a place for safe space for me to be talking about anything that I was feeling while I was growing up or when I went to school, right? Like in an underprivileged school was actually providing that grassroots level of development of self-esteem. I thought that was absolutely fantastic because it's not just about learning, it's about, them being able to believe that they can do anything that they want. And that changes your mindset, right? So I think that was amazing. And then at Cancer Patient Aid Association, I would say I was able to witness how this organization helps a lot of the cancer patients, not only with the aid that they need in order to go, they're underprivileged, and so they need aid for them to be able to get medications or treatment or what have you, but they also offer means for them to be able to earn money, right? So they have a facility where, they're making gift boxes or like chocolate boxes or what have you for big customers like Taj in Mumbai. And they're literally their workers all working together, and they're also having treatment. So it's humbling to see how community can come together and work together on it. So I think both of these were probably my highlights in the most recent time. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And collaboration seems to be your jam.
Yeah.
Any juicy stories from working with other artists or organizations that left a lasting impression on you?
Yeah, I think I've done a few collaborations with like local artists here, local singers here. And then I recently collaborated with one of the, dance influencers called Kiran in India. And he's fantastic. He's so down to earth, so humbling. He is so, you can see his passion for dance and, how much he looks at dance as, just something uh, that's helping him become a better person, which I think I connect the most with. He was able to collaborate with me on my latest song, Janoon, and I think that did really well. And the song itself has been really, overwhelmed with the kind of love it has got. And yeah, I think that collaboration has stayed with me for a long time. I think I did one mashup with my sister a few years ago, which was almost like an ode to my dad because he would have probably got us together to do that. And that was a fun one because it was a mashup of a few Bollywood songs. So yeah, some of more enjoyable collaborations. Yeah.
So, going back to all the balancing you do in your life, and congratulations, big hit on the song you have written, and I think you have sung it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, balancing a corporate gig with your artistic endeavors must be a wild ride, and we can see that with your
Yeah.
words. How do you switch gears from boardroom brainstorming to studio jam sessions? Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. But like I said, it's actually one of the most simplest thing is, connecting with the creative community, right? Like, which is the common thread across both of them. Whether it's at work, my customers are all creative people. I find my customers more on Instagram than I would find them on LinkedIn. So it's literally how we work, right? Like these are filmmakers, content creators, they are social media creators, they are essentially people who are fueling the gig economy, the entire creative economy, right? And I am so inspired by them when I see the work that they've put out. It makes me do what I do on the side even better, right? So because I learn from them. And although we create editing software called Premiere Pro, which is our, bread and butter when it comes to video editing software at Adobe for us. And it's essentially been the way that, most of the movies are edited in. So if you've heard of Everything Everywhere All at Once, it was edited on Premiere Pro. So you can tell the kind of inspiration we can draw from it. In fact, in India, the movie 12th Fail was completely edited on Premiere Pro. So it's one of the biggest joys for me to see all these creative inspirations that, I can draw from all of these customers and work with them to see how I can make my storytelling better, right? So when I'm putting a music video together, I want to tell a song and tell it through a lens of a story. I take inspiration from every conversation I'm having with customers. So it's never about those, room meetings or board meetings, or it's all about how do we learn? How can I learn more? That's what I'm here for. At Adobe as well. I'm really, really inspired to go in there and learn more about how creatives do their work and learn a thing or two from them.
And this all comes in when you're just thirsty about doing
Absolutely.
more and doing better, not only
Uh,
with yourselves, but for the others as well. And fantastic job you're doing. I'll just take the term storytelling here.
yeah.
Let's rewind a bit now. And what's one piece of advice you would wish to give your younger self when you were just starting out this crazy journey of yours?
uh, I think I remember when, as a 15 or 16-year-old self, I may have, I would come back from school and just, if I'm by myself at home, I'd put on some tape and I would just dance my heart out like no one's watching, and no one did at that point. No one necessarily knew that I could dance or sing or anything at that point. I was terrified of showing that side of me, I guess. And I think um, I would say that to my younger self that you're going to be fine. And that's what I would say, because we stress out so much, especially I think in India while growing up. There's so much of rat race, right? Like there's so much of like you've got to achieve this and then this and then this, and then you've got your checklist and you finish your boards and you have to get a certain percentage and you finish your, college, and then you've got to get into a good, make sure you're getting a good grade so you can go to the next level and then next and then get the best job. And it's never ending, the pressure. I do think if I were if I would have listened to who I am and what I'm made up of and what I wanted sooner, I think it would have led me to the same place that I am right now. I think I just started much later. I would have started it sooner, is what I would have probably done differently. But other than that, I think the only thing I'll say is you're going to be okay.
It's all
Absolutely.
set sometimes for us. And you are fabulous at what you're doing. Trust me. And we just look up to what you're doing and we are getting inspired, I must say. Trust me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it really means a lot. But that said, I also want to make sure that, we're not putting any human on one higher pedestal, right? Like, because then I feel like we take away the power from the human to make mistakes, or, and also from, if you were treating someone who's made a mistake as someone who can't be on the pedestal ever, then you're taking away the power from them to be human as well. So
Yeah,
either case, I think just let's humanize everybody. I think everybody has the potential to inspire each other. And I think
of course.
it's inspiring to see what you're doing, spreading the cause around for and empowering people and bringing stories that matter. It's amazing. You're telling the world the stories that's not about you, it's about everybody else. And I think it's amazing that you're doing that.
Thank you so much. So, any future plans, any big dream or projects on the horizon that you're itching to tackle now next? Tell us.
I do have one big piece of work that I'm actually have taken on. It's actually very, very new. It's not songwriting, it's not music videos, it's something else. So it's actually a book that I'm writing. So I'm hoping that I can talk about that soon enough, and it'll be on the horizon soon, and I'm very excited about sharing that.
Well, we'll look forward to reading that. I pray that it reaches masses because then only the way you're expressing yourself in words right now, I'm sure that the written words would be more impactful because when we read and imagine according to our thoughts, it modifies us and modifies the book as well, right?
Abs-
Into many unique thoughts. So I'm
Absolutely.
sure it will be a great hit as well, like any other project. So, lastly, Madhuri, if you could sum up your message to the world in just a few words, what would that be?
I think from my perspective, I feel like, do something that your 70-year-old self is going to be proud of you for, right? Like I've always thought that that's been my grounding, North Star. Like I have to make sure that my 70-year-old self looks back and says, I did everything I wanted. And I did because I wanted it, not somebody else who wanted it, or I'm pleasing somebody else, or it's none of that, right? It's basically what I wanted, the way I wanted it. And you might not get everything, and that's fine. But the fact that you tried it out and you went after it, and and it's better to have experienced it and failed than not have experienced it at all, because at least you tried it. And that's the thing about even with songs, right? Like I'm not necessarily I mean, it would be great, but I don't know that every song is going to be like out there and it's going to do so great. But it did something to me. It changed me. It made me a better person in some way or form. I connected with myself better. I got to know myself better. I think that's a win for me. And then everything else is a plus on top of that. So if I can go back to my 70-year-old self and look back and be like, this is what you were wanting to do and you did it, I think that's a win. And I'm hoping everybody can look at their higher self as well. Yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting line, and I think I would be having thoughts on that. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another fantastic episode of Talk Through Thursday. A huge thank you to Madhuri for sharing her incredible story with us today. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for having such a wonderful conversation and for everything that you're doing. Good luck to you.
Thank you, and congratulations, and good luck to you as well. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Remember, no dream is too big and no act of kindness is too small. So let's take a page out of the Madhuri's book and keep spreading love, creativity, and positivity wherever we go. Until next time, stay tuned for more conversations right here on Talk Through Thursday. Pranam. Take care.
Thank you.